What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the 7 legendary sorceries and incantations you need for your trophies in Elden Ring. Now, in addition to showing the locations, we're also going to be showcasing these abilities, so just to give y'all an idea on my stats so you have a baseline, we are at 68 intelligence and 50 faith, and we're going to be working with a 250 incant scaling gravel stone seal plus 25, and a Lusat's glintstone staff plus 9. This one does boost the power of all sorceries, but consumes additional FP. And this one will boost the power of Dragon Cult incantations, but none of these spells fall into that category. So, to start off, our first one we're going to be talking about is Flame of the Fell God. Now, this is the earliest one you can get. And to be honest, it's probably the most disappointing of the bunch. I think in general, this is kind of just a disappointing spell, but visually, it's super cool. So this is going to summon a giant fireball that will float towards the enemies and then after a brief delay explode and leave a fire area on the ground. So just to show that one, we throw it on up. And it's going to float on over to Mr. Doggo over here. And then when it gets close, it'll blow up. But you're already kind of seeing the problem with this. If enemies have moved even a little bit of ways, they will be out of range of it when it explodes. The damage itself isn't too bad, hitting for 1,000 damage, but like, I mean, for the cost of this thing, there are spells that can do way more damage for way less cost. But I will say the little flame AoE it leaves on the ground, that's kind of useful, just because it's going to generate some stagger, potentially, you know, helping to build up a critical on an enemy. And that one is probably the easiest of the bunch to get. Just run on over here so we're out of combat. Going to be using this area to showcase all the spells. But to pick that one on up, you head into Liurnia, make your way up this cliff, and then right here in the Malefactor's Everjail, you can pick it on up. I want to say there's actually a spirit spring somewhere around here you can use to jump up to get to there. Moving on down the list though, the next up we have is Greyoll's Roar. And this is the roar of the legendary Mother of all Dragons. Literally impossible to miss this thing. So we'll well, let's just show this and then we'll talk about the location. But this one's really interesting. It's a very, very large AoE. It can hit targets in front, behind, to the sides, and it has the unique effect of reducing the attack and defense of targets. So definitely some potential for PvP there. You know, you're fighting a bunch of stuff and you get surrounded, and you're like, what do I do? You just... It also does a lot of stagger damage, as you're seeing, so really good at just knocking people on their ass. And the range on this is, it's not like super large, but it's not too bad either. So this is a bigger grouping of enemies. Let's see if I can hit all of them. Alright, so you can see those dudes were just too far right there. I've never noticed that pile of weird dog corpses. That's very macabre. I like it. But this one, like I said, it's basically unmissable. Well, where it comes from is basically unmissable, but to get this one, you're going to have to be in the Caelid region. And right on over here, just northwest of Fort Faroth, is going to be a massive dragon. When you're running through this area, it's impossible to not see this thing. The first time I saw it, I immediately was like, nope, not going near that. But I would suggest just kind of getting around its backside. It doesn't attack, it just lays there. So you can hit it with Rot, and you can use Bleed. That is my suggestion, because this thing has a huge health pool. So rot it up, and then just keep getting Bleed procs on it, and after like 5 to 10 minutes, it'll be dead. You'll get a bunch of Dragon Hearts, and then you can head on down to the Cathedral of Dragon Communion to then pick up this incantation. Moving down the list, though, to our final of the incantations, Elden Stars. Create a gold stream of stars that assail the area. Now, if you're trying to collect all this stuff in the post-game, you'll remember this ability, because it's the super obnoxious star ability that the final boss uses, the one that it just chases you all over the place, and you're just like, why won't this thing stop? Unfortunately, the damage really isn't that good on it. The damage is kind of lackluster, but I will say the spell chase nature of this, I think, has some potential for PvP. Go fight something else, man. I'm trying to just showcase spells here. There's always got to be one dog that's an ass, you know? You should get distracted by something else. So we'll use this dog right here. Pretty long cast animation on this. And it's going to put up a little comet, and that comet is going to spit out tons and tons of little stars that you can see keep hitting the enemy. and then eventually the comet will reach the enemy, and then it will rise in the air and it'll explode. So the damage on this one definitely isn't the highest, but what it lacks up for in damage, it definitely makes up for it in terms of just being incredibly annoying. Stop it. Trying to show off spells, and these guys are just being assholes. You can see this thing lasts a long time, so I think one solid advantage of this is that you could basically like fire and forget and then go to your other spells that focus more around damage. But definitely interesting, and like I said, I think in PvP is where that spell's really going to shine, just because you'll be able to, you know, basically throw it out and people are just going to be running and running and running. Now this one's a little tricky to get to. We need to start from the Ancestral Woods area down here in what is it, Nokron? Head on over this way, you're going to see some jellyfish, and then follow them and you'll take you around to the cliffside and then to the Great Waterfall Basin, and then you'll find a sarcophagus you climb in. That sarcophagus will then take you on over to Deeproot Depths, and that is where we pick up Elden Stars. As always, the more complicated ones, I'll be showing the exact locations of them, but the simple ones that are like, go to a jail, kill a dragon, I don't need to show y'all where that's at. So, we're going to get up on this route, and then go this way. And you can see, right over there, there's a little cave entrance that's just tucked away. And eventually this is going to bring you on out. The item is actually right there on that corpse that's just above my head right now. But to get there, you need to go on into here. And this isn't actually considered a cave on the map. It's not marked, so you just have to kind of spot your way into it. And this place will have more ants than you have ever seen. So I would suggest bringing like some type of AoE. I showed up and it was just like, oh, here's an ant. Oh my god, and another, and another, and another. And they just keep on coming. So, you know, just be ready for that, because you're going to be fighting a lot of ants. I guess you could try and run and grab the spell. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, as I was killing, I'd kill like 5 ants and like 10 more would show up. That place was ridiculous. But thankfully, you can cheese them all from above. So, you know, there's no real risk of death until you drop down, of course. Moving on, though, let's talk about our sorceries. Switch on over. All right. And the first one up on the sorcery list is going to be, let's talk about Founding Rain of Stars first. So this one summons a dark cloud of stars overhead, then the star releases a violent deluge, charging increases the potency. This one's pretty cool. It's very, very similar to the that one Dark Souls 3 boss. I can't even remember his name, that's how long it's been. I've been so Elden Ringed up, I'm forgetting the names of bosses in other Souls games. Aldrich. It's similar to Aldrich's Reign. Now this one, unfortunately, it doesn't have a wide cast range. If we cast it back here, you can see it's going to open above, and it's just kind of hitting right here on top of us. It's not even near those dudes, so definitely a little bit disappointing. The damage on this one isn't too bad, but like I said, I mean, you got to be, you know, running on up and then casting it, so. Casting it on up on top of them, though. Let's see, the rain coming down, lots and lots of multi-hits. If I throw out the fast version, that one's actually pretty quick to get out. You can see the damage on this isn't too bad. I think the other big thing is obviously this one being a multi-hit spell. The multi-hit nature, as always, has the potential for knocking an enemy down for a stagger. And I do have my casting speed enhancement talisman on. Probably should have pointed that out at the start, but not a big concern. I'm just going to reset. Now this one is a little tricky to get, but not too bad. So we need to go to the Snow Valley Ruins Outlook. And I don't know if you have to do it in advance, but you probably have to at least activate the puzzle by interacting with the book. So this spell is actually in Heretical Rise. So you're going to go to the book. It's going to talk about like an unseen path with snow. And then you can come on over here. And I don't think you need to run over. I'm pretty sure you can activate the puzzle, and then you can just warp over here to that same grace I did, and then run. But right here on this area. you can already kind of see it where the sign's at right here. There is going to be an invisible walkway that we can take. Now, depending on the time of day and network conditions, you may be able to actually see just a ton of signs littered that'll take you all the way over. Of course, if you don't, just use your little stones to slowly walk the path and make a bridge. As a reminder, you can just craft those little guys right on down. Where are they? Where are my little stones? Oh, there they are. So you just need rune fragments, which are easily picked up. You can get tons of them. But yeah, just follow that over. That'll take you into the tower. And then once you're in the tower, you will then have access to that spell. Let's hop back on over to our showcase spot. Now the next one I haven't actually seen myself yet, so I'm excited to see how this one works out. And this is Ranni's Dark Moon. Now this one, as you can probably guess, you're going to have to follow all the way through the Ranni questline to get. Incarnate a cold, dark moon and launch it at foes. Legendary sorcery associated with the Carrion Queen. My guess is this is going to be similar to Renna's Moon or the Flame of the Fell God, but let's find out. Hopefully it's a little bit more aggressive, because those spells are they're just so slow, you know? And the slowness of them definitely takes away from, like, the wow factor, because they don't really get the job done. Moon power! So it looks like an instant frostbite proc. I will say this definitely hauls ass. That thing moves. Look at it go. Let's see. Let's test the range on this. Can we snipe with it? So we can't quite snipe. Well, it might have been that guy got hit by an object. Let's try this one. Definitely very expensive. No, so it's not going to go that far. But still, seems like a pretty decent spell overall. I think one thing I'll say that's nice about this is the speed that this, like, it seems like it's going to be an easy dodge, and then it rapidly speeds up. So between solid damage on that, in addition to what's probably a massive amount of frostbite buildup, I think this one has some potential for use in both PvE and PvP. The damage there seemed pretty respectable, plus the AoE nature of it is always nice. So to get that one, as you can probably guess, you gotta go through the Ranni questline. As always, this involves killing Radahn, going here into Nokron, fighting your way through Nokron to grab a treasure in Night's Sacred Ground. You take that treasure back to Ranni, she's gonna take a nap. You then gotta take Renna's Rise, which is gonna teleport you underground, on over to Noxtella. You pick up a doll, talk to the doll a bunch until it talks back. Doll's going to tell you to find the assassin here, get the key from the assassin, take the key on over here, open the chest next to the boss, get a ring, bring that back on down. After the assassin, you can proceed through the Lake of Rot. This is also where you get Lightning Ice Katana that everyone loves. Grand Cloister, right here. Take the sarcophagus. Sarcophagus is going to take you on over here to Estelle. Kill Estelle. If you have the ring from that chest, this will be open. This will then pop you up. And then here we are at the Moonlight Altar area. So, this is going to be from Shallona's Rise. You're going to have to interact with this first, and then I know this one I don't believe you can fast travel. I think you have to activate it and run to the 3. But it's going to talk about 3 great beasts. One of them is going to be right here, just on like the side of the cliff. So you'll be able to see it, just go along the cliff edge, shoot it with an arrow or something. Next one is right along this area. As you run up this cliff and then look down, there's going to be a like small ledge that you can't run to from down here, but you'd have to jump down to. So once again, another one you're going to shoot with an arrow or a spell. And then the last one is going to be up here very close to that Everjail. You're going to find a Spirit Spring, and using that Spirit Spring you can jump and go up and through it, and that will knock it out, giving you your 3 great beasts, which then unlocks the tower and gets you access to this spell. So moving on from there, the next one is going to be Comet Azure. This fires a tremendous comet with a starry torrent. This is your Kamehameha. Pretty cool spell. This one's actually really easy to get, but let's show it off first. It's very similar to the weapon art on Night and Flame. Wow, 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 wow. So, very expensive spell. And one of the things I like about this is you can see the ray it's very concentrated. It doesn't take too long to get its full damage out, as opposed to its counterpart back from Dark Souls 3, the Soul Stream. And you can see pretty much anything caught in the way of that is going to get hit. So, pretty good use. I don't think you'll be hitting people with it in PvP, but I think the PvE applications of this spell are certainly up there. And to get this one, we need to talk to the sorcerer in the hermit village up in the Gelmid area. And this one took me a little bit of time to find just because I couldn't make my way up there. But in particular, from the Bridge of Iniquity, you'll find a ladder, and when you climb that ladder, that'll get you up into Mount Gelmir. So then you can work your way around, and then, no, it's not by the Hermit Shack. Sorcerer Hermit, yeah. So keep working, well, from here, keep working your way all the way around this area, and then right here at the very end is Primeval Sorcerer Azure. Now, over in this area, there's going to be a bunch of different stuff that attacks you initially, almost like, I don't want to say a mini-boss battle, but just like an elite. And this guy, he's just going to be chilling. So after you have fought off all the enemies, this dude's just sitting here in a corner. He doesn't even talk, but you just walk up and interact with him, and he hands you the spell. Now, it's important that you get this spell, because without getting access to this spell, we can't get our next spell, which is going to be Stars of Ruin. Legendary sorcery devised by Lusat, Primeval Sorcerers. 12 dark shooting stars that pursue the target, cast in motion, charging increases potency. It's everything you could want in an offensive PvP spell. So let's hop back to the Impassable Great Bridge and show this one off. Obviously, anything that can be cast while in motion is always a good spell, in my opinion. This is a regular cast. Boom, 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 boom. So 1275 for an uncharged version. 1368 for a charged version. And it's kind of pricey, but just seeing, you know, the accuracy on this thing, these are curving really hard. To hit their target. Let's see what our range is. So not a huge range, probably looking at about 15 meters, but pretty respectable damage on that, and I definitely think that one has some potential. So to get this one, we need to do the quest line of the Selene, the Sorceress. So to start, you need to have that Comet Azure ability that I have on. You want to make sure that you have that equipped. And then after it's equipped, you're going to head on over here to the Waypoint Ruin Cellar. Now, this is back where we fought Pumpkinhead. This lady should still be here. If she's not, I'm not sure what to tell you, because she should. But anyway, you go on over here, you talk to her. As long as you have it, she's going to have some additional dialogue. She's going to have a bunch of dialogue you're going to want to run through. So just run through all of that. Go blah, 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 blah. Eventually, she's going to tell you that you need to find the Sorcerer Lusat. Now, there's more to her quest line, but we're not going to do the whole quest line. We just need to you know, find out where the Sorcerer Lusat is. So after the dialogue advances enough, she's going to give you a key. With that key, we then head on out here to the Church of the Plague. And then from the Church of the Plague, we're going to run this way, the Celia Hideaway. Now this place it's a hidden wall, so I'm going to show you exactly where the wall's at, and then I'll show you how to navigate this, because we don't actually go to the boss, we just need to find Lusat instead. So let me pop this, and I'll show the wall you smack. So the easiest indicator for whether or not you're going to the right way is once you get up, you can see this big kind of this tombstone thing right here. There's going to be a necromancer, sorcerer dude, whatever. Just run right behind him, pop the wall, and then you run on in. Now this place is pretty confusing to get through. There's going to be a lot of false walls. So if you're seeing me run it and you're like, hang on, I didn't have that. Well, it's because of false walls. Let me actually, just because of how dark this place is, I'm going to put on a proper torch just to further increase the lighting that we have available. Now, I decided to just sprint my way through here, so I haven't grabbed, like, loots or enemies or anything. You're gonna run along. I think we've already passed where our first boss wall would be. We're gonna run past these guys. And right about the time we get to this point where you can see stuff down below, that's how we know we're on the right track. So right around here, you should be able to look down, and I don't have it up anymore because I've already killed it. But looking on down, you'll see a seal, like a blue seal, like the same as the seal on the doors that are over in the town when you first get to it. Oh my god, I'm gonna die down here, bro. And anyway, you're gonna run on over, you're gonna open the seal, and then you go on in, and there's some dude just chilling with the crystals. And when you talk to him, he's gonna give you the spell. Now the spell can be used to continue the quest line, but you don't, you know, that's a whole different story. At that point, you should have your 7th and final legendary spell. So that is gonna wrap things up with the final legendary guide being out of the way. It is full steam ahead on the walkthrough. So if you've been waiting for that, stay tuned. I could do a guide on the endings, but we're going to cover that in the walkthrough anyway, whereas these are more of a, you know, a niche category that people are going to be looking for. So either way, thanks for tuning on in. Hopefully this gets some of y'all some trophies, and I will catch you all next time.